Sports brings you this broadcast of the NBA. This is Kevin Harlan, and with me, Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. Now, the starting group for the New Jersey Nets, presented by State Farm. Humphries is at the 4 with Brook Lopez in the middle. Deron Williams out there with Johnson, and it's Wallace in at the small forward position. And for Phoenix, Nash runs the point with Dudley at the 2. Markieff Morris is out there with Hill, and it's Gortat in at the 5.
Well, the road has not been kind to the Nets over the last couple of seasons. Last year, just 5 wins on the road. The season before, only 4. But I think this season, with their added firepower, they should be able to improve on those totals.
Morris kicks it over to Nash. There's a screen by Gortat. Nash dishes to Gortat. And here's Dudley for 3. That's good. Dudley's got himself going with the triple, his first basket of the game. Steve, you mentioned the Nets' extra firepower. A full season with Deron Williams, Clark at the helm should help them get more road wins.
Yeah, I would definitely agree there, Kevin. I mean, when you talk about winning on the road, there's not nearly as much margin for error. You got to take care of possessions, maximize them out, and with a really good point guard, you got a better chance of doing that.
Steve Nash pulls it in. So it's Phoenix now. It's a 3-point game. They set the pick. Outside Hill. Nice defense from Wallace.
Good, tough defense there. Getting a hand up, forcing that miss.
Well, he's got the reputation of being a tough defender, and there was an example right there for you. How amazing is it, Kevin, to see Grant Hill really enjoying a second prime in his late 30s? I mean, he's been remarkably durable for a player of his age. He's played 80-plus games 3 years in a row now.
Doris Burke had a chance to catch up with head coach Avery Johnson.
Yes, Kevin, he told me that they're facing the type of team that is one of the best at forcing opponents into defensive mistakes. He said, quote, physical errors are forgivable, but any mental lapse today is inexcusable. We have to be the smarter team out there. Kevin?
Great stuff, Doris. Thanks. It sounds like, Clark, the most important number for them today is opposing shooting percentage.
Well, one of the best ways, Kevin, to contain a dangerous shooter is to keep the ball out of his hands. Deny him the ball, and deny has to be what your focus is.
Steve?
Well, the key is if you're going to deny, then you've got to anticipate the rotations. And so as long as they're schooled in the game plan tonight, they understand what they're trying to accomplish, they can be aggressive and deny and then go ahead and make the rotations from there.
And Lopez throws it down hard. A replay here, the Sprite Slam Cam showing us how it's done.
Well, that's a dunk you will not see very often. You won't pass that one by.
No doubt about that.
I wish he would, though. You can never see too many of those.
Here's Nash. The feather touch on the finger roll. Beautiful.
You have to have such a great feel for the ball to get a finger roll like that to go.
You know, guys, you think back to a team like the Suns. They had a terrific shot at winning the championship just a few short seasons ago, and it doesn't seem like they're in real contention right now going forward.
6 on the shot clock. Williams for 3. Phoenix grabs the miss. 1:06 left to play here in the first. Morris. There it is. It's Nash picking up the assists. Morris has got his first bucket of the game, and he's on the board for 3. We're talking about the Suns' fall from contention, some of it age, but Steve, a number of tough breaks and maybe a few self-inflicted wounds along the way.
Well, Steve Nash is getting older, still was a very productive player a season ago. I think that the biggest difference, though, for Phoenix was not having Amari Stoudemire, who left as a free agent for New York. So the talent base went down, and now Phoenix is faced with some question marks as they look to the future. They're going to have to make some changes eventually and kind of reload to get back to that championship-style level.
And the Suns making a change here. Warwick's checked in. Here's Johnson. Double team on Williams. Guarded now by Nash. Hill against James. Fires from deep. And Deron Williams with the 3. Williams has got 6 points.
He is extremely comfortable behind that three-point line. I mean, especially when you give him that kind of room to operate.
Nash against Williams. And there's Grant Hill on the assist by Nash. Hill's got his second bucket of the game to go. 6 seconds separating the shot and game clocks. Hill against James. Lopez kicks to Williams. Right side, Williams. 5 on the clock. Nash comes with the double team. With the clock winding down. Hits the front of the rim and out. The 3 from Dudley. That misses. Would have counted had it gone in. The offense coming free and easy as we wrap up the first quarter. Suns lead by 6.
And they've done a nice job here offensively to establish a rhythm and a pace to this game.
And I like that they're finding ways to score. Playing well here, Steve.
And we'll get back to the action right after this. And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. Here's Williams.
Well, Gortat was a really nice pickup for the Suns. He was a backup to Dwight Howard in Orlando. Never really got the minutes that he deserved. And the Suns gave him that opportunity, and he made the most of it.
So with Johnson sitting on the bench, here's who Avery Johnson's going with. Wallace out there with Green. Then it's Chris Humphries. Then it's Brooks. And it's Williams at the 1. Brooks. No good. Some solid defense from Brown. And Gortat has really given the Suns that presence they so desperately needed in the paint. He's been just what the doctor ordered for the Phoenix ball club.
Well, I love his size. He's got a big body. He's active. He's an excellent offensive rebounder, Kevin. And he's not a bad finisher around the rim, so he's shown that he's a starting caliber center, although I think his best role is maybe as a reserve. I just think he brings that element that's special when you're of his talent, when you can come off the bench.
Gortat, the former backup to Dwight Howard over in Orlando before the trade to Phoenix. And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to Doris Burke for an update. Hi, Doris.
Well, guys, with the Phoenix Suns losing ground in the West, some expected the Suns to trade Steve Nash and rebuild. But Alvin Gentry said, I see the level he's playing at, and I don't know why we would trade him. I don't see why you would want to bottom out and spend the next 5 years trying to get good again. Nash said, I'm committed to doing my job. I'm committed to this franchise and the fans. Maybe I'm old school, but I signed a contract to play here, and I want to honor it. Guys, we'll see if they can turn it around.
It'll be interesting to see. Thanks, Doris.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. I mean, they want to keep Nash around. He's the face of the franchise. But, you know, they're really stuck in that middle, that no man's land, where they're just good enough to maybe make the playoffs, but not bad enough to get a really high draft pick. Well, you look at the Nets' record against the West last year, 11-19, which doesn't sound great, but when you consider they went 13-39 against the East, that West record looks a little better.
Here's Hill. It's a little short, but gets the friendly roll. Hill's got 8 points. There's the steal. The Suns able to recover.
Anticipating that pass so well, beautifully done.
From about 19 feet, the shot is off, and the Nets now go the other way. Well, it's interesting, you know, Steve, that the Nets were seemingly able to punch a little bit above their weight as far as playing against the West. Clark, I don't know, as a player, do you start thinking about what the East can do and what the West can do and who you might fare better against?
No, I think you basically look at each opponent and try to figure out how to beat them. I mean, They got some big wins on the road against the Thunder, the Rockets, and Denver. Got a home win against the Lakers. It just goes to show on any given night, you never know who's going to come out on top.
And first time out of the game called for Phoenix.
You know, for the Suns last season at U.S. Airways Center, 23-18 was the record at home, still above 500, but of course not the kind of mark they've been used to setting there in the past.
So for the Suns, Morris is checked in for Ward. Dudley comes in for Shannon Brown. And it's Nash in for Sebastian Telfair. The Nets also changing it up. Brook Lopez is checked in for Green. Johnson comes in for Brooks. And it's Farmo in for Darren Williams. Steve, that record of 23-18, that was their worst in the last 7 seasons at home.
Now, things may get worse before they get better for Phoenix because they've got some older players. And this is a franchise that's got some difficult decisions to make. And it's also a franchise that is very accustomed to winning. One of the all-time leaders in winning percentage in the NBA. And last season, remember, Joe Johnson signed that huge contract, over $120 million. And tough to live up to the expectations with that hanging over your shoulders. And Johnson, his numbers were not quite up to par from his previous seasons.
Thinking back to Joe Johnson, hard to live up to that contract. It was so gigantic. No matter who you are, to reach that kind of qualification would have been something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a shame that people know what you make, because a lot of times it's an albatross when you get paid more than perhaps what your status in the game would warrant. And that's unfortunate, because Joe Johnson, while maybe not an elite perennial all-star Hall of Fame caliber player, is still one of the best scorers that we have in the NBA.
I know as much money as you made when you played, Clark. Yeah, that was a big albatross.
Right. There are a few more zeros on those checks than when I was playing, Kevin.
Three-pointer. Morris, no good.
And I think whichever team starts to dominate the glass could really take control of this game.
I won't disagree with you. I mean, it's so tight between these teams right now on the board that you're just waiting to see which team might pull away. Well, Grant Hill has simply been getting it done. He's got 10 points and 1 rebound.
Wow, is he playing well, just taking over this game.